get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family's straight. Gotta make sure that my kids and me. Gotta make sure that.
Welcome to another episode of Drinking After Dark, a podcast where we discuss random topics while having a few drinks. I'm your host, Darius, and as always, drink responsibly. And y'all make sure y'all follow Drinking After Dark podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And make sure y'all hit that thumbs up and subscribe to Drinking After Dark podcast YouTube channel. Tonight, I'm not drinking on anything tonight, man. I'm just drinking on some sweet tea tonight, man. Still kind of hot outside, so I'm not drinking anything tonight. But I hope you guys are being safe, being responsible. I hope you guys had a great week. I hope you guys gonna have a great Labor Day weekend. I know some of you guys got like a 4-day or 3-day weekend, so I hope you guys enjoy your weekend, enjoy your families and everything like that, and just have a good time. Be safe and all of that. Tonight, man, we're gonna talk about a couple of things. Uh, I guess we could call it Sports Friday, man. Listen, I don't know about you guys, but I'm so excited about uh football being back. I know we had the preseason and stuff going on, but we have college football that's back. Um, we also, of course, the NFL season is going to start real soon. So I'm excited, definitely excited about this. I know you guys are too, man. I know the summer, obviously we had the Olympics that went on during the summer, but listen, we all know the fall, winter time, you know, stuff that we could watch, man. No disrespect to baseball. Baseball is a great sport and everything, but we all know sports shows, they don't really talk about baseball like that unless there's some type of drama that's involved. But anyway, let's go and get into it, man. We got to start off with this first topic, man. Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards basically disrespected the players of the past 80s, 90s. Um, Basically saying that no players had skill back then. The only one that actually had skill was Michael Jordan. This is his statement. I quote, I didn't watch it back in the day, so I can't speak on it. Edwards said, they said it was tougher back then than it is now, but I don't think anybody had skill back then. Michael Jordan was the only one that really had skill. You know what I mean? And obviously, Magic Johnson clapped back at Anthony Edwards, basically saying he doesn't talk to anybody who doesn't have a championship. Uh, so it's crazy about that. First off, to me, it seemed like basketball is the only sport that would disrespect the players of the past, right? Just like with anything in society, things evolve, people get better because there's a blueprint, and um, you can actually build off of, and practice the skills and all that stuff. The fact that Anthony Edwards came out and said, I didn't watch it. Well, Anthony Edwards wasn't even born in the 90s. Okay. He was born in the early 2000s. Let's call it what it is. So and the thing about it too, it's almost like you see it in a rap game in the sense that people don't really um, study their history. And I would tell you this, there was a lot of skill players back in the day. If you want to go to, let me see, let's just go to the 80s, right? Bird was skilled. Magic Johnson was skilled. Who else was skilled back then? Kevin McHale. See what I'm saying? Here's the thing. You saying that the players are more skilled today. I don't think it's so much as skill today, more so than back then, because if it was so much skill today, ain't no way a big man should not be dominating today's game. No way, right? I'm not saying everybody can. I mean, if everybody shoots threes, right? And let's just be honest, that's not everybody's game to shoot a three. I don't know where coaching. I'm gonna tell you what has happened over the course of the time, over the course of the decades. I believe coaching has gotten worse over the decades. You see it. I believe player development has gotten worse over the decades. You can see it. Ain't no way Rudy Gobert should not be averaging close to 30 points per game if he had an offensive game. Now, his skill set is defense. No doubt about it. That's a skill. Like back in the day, Dennis Rodman, probably the greatest rebounder of all time, right? That's his skill set, right? John Stockton, people would put him as a top 5 point guard of all time, right? He has two records that won't be broken, will never be broken: assists, steals. That's a skill. Okay. Uh, who else had skill back then? And he talking about the only ones that had skill was Jordan. Let's even go to the ninth. Listen, Barkley had skills. Okay. Charles Barkley had skills. Clyde Drexler had skills. Um, who else has skills? Back then I could just name up. Listen, Larry Johnson had skills. Vlade Divac had skills. Um, Sabonis, a big man with skills, right? Um, who pretty much that's who Jokic reminds me of. It's a bonus. If y'all know Arvinas Sabonis, for the millennials who watch the game and the older generations who watch the game, y'all know who I'm talking about. Who else has skills? Man, listen, Rod Strickland has skills. Uh, who else came in the '90s? Baron Davis, Tim Hardaway. You had who else? Who else do we have out there? Isaiah Thomas, you know, Reggie Miller has skills. You had matter of fact, I'm gonna give you a couple players that could dominate in today's game if they didn't get hurt. Penny Hardaway, Grant Hill. These guys changed the game. I mean, Scottie Pippen he had skills, right? So to say that one, you didn't watch it back then. Even Kobe. Kobe came in the '90s, right? We know Kobe didn't really take off until it wasn't his rookie year; it was the next year. Um, Nick Van Exel. I just thought about Shaq. Shaq had skills. Come on, man. Eddie Jones. Like, come on. Like, there's a lot of different skill set. Like, I look at the Kimbe Mutombo. He had a skill set. Alonzo Mourning had a skill set. You know, I think the problem is with today's generation of players, and I think a lot of guys said back then they couldn't play back in those days because one, the game, the game now is probably a lot easier to watch if you're a casual fan. But if you're like a basketball peer, sometimes it just gets on your nerves, right? Because you see a lot of stuff. It's like simple stuff that you learn growing up. And this is why I said coaching also has taken a step back too, because even on the high school level, I don't think coaches really coach anymore. I don't really think they do. And obviously, I you know how I feel about the AAU circuit. It's just AAU. It just it's a glorified pickup game. That's all it is. That's what the AAU game is. But you can't disrespect the past generation. Not only did they lay the foundation for you, but the fact that said they made it to the league. Not everybody's going to be a scorer, right? And when you have former NBA players who, I always say this, just because you play the game and then you try to speak on the game, a lot of guys, they just don't have it. They just don't have, because a skill, Akeem Olajuwon, right? When you're talking about some of the best post players to ever play the game, Akeem Olajuwon, Tim Duncan, Kevin McHale. Who else had great skills? I mean, let's just be honest. Rick Smith's had great post skills. Uh, we already know how Shaq is. Who else? You had guys who had great. Chris Webber. right? Like these guys had skills, but you want to move past them and say, well, what about the other guys? Those guys had it too. Dana Barros, if y'all know who that is, Dana Barros would kill in today's game. Okay? Just go back and watch. Penny Hardaway would kill in today's game. Matter of fact, Dennis Scott would have killed in today's game because that's how he played back then, right? And what I'm saying is today's game to me, I'm watching the game and I'm sitting there at times, I'm like, why are these bastards running to the 3-point line on a 3-on-2 fast break? Like, cut to the basket. You got the advantage. What they gonna do? They're gonna foul you, possibly get an N1, but you're gonna go back to the 3-point line? Come on, man. You have that. You have that situation. Uh, even on defense, right? I understand the NBA. Here's the thing: the NBA needs to go back and make it a well. I take it. I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say what I was gonna say, but I'm not gonna say it. But the NBA made it to where, yes, you see the scores go up because the pace is up and down, right? You have it to where a guy cutting across the lane can't even be touched, right? You have it to where you have it where um you have like an illegal 3D. I agree with that. Maybe they should adopt that in college. But different levels, stuff like that. I understand. Um Also too, let's just call it what it is. Defensively, I think why these players look more skilled than ever because defensively, they really can't play defense on the offensive player anymore. If y'all know Derek Harper, if y'all know like a Ron Harper, even a Dennis Rodman, if y'all remember these great defensive guards, hand checking, these guys they can control you with one hand. These offensive players today don't have to go through the physicality of the game uh of the past, right? There was a time where if you came across that lane, yeah, you might got, they might come down the lane, they might dunk on you. Next time you come down there, they're gonna put you on your ass. That's how it was. That's what the game had enforcers for, right? Uh it to me, if it was so much skill now than it was back then. And we know everything's inflated now because it's really becoming a gun and shoot. I mean, it's a run and shoot. That's all it was. You're going up and down. You're taking 53-point shots a game, right? Uh Foul calls a ticky tack at best, right? Not really too much of a foul call. It's just like, oh my gosh, they scratched me on my hand, so it's a foul, blah, blah, blah. Guys flailing and welling and begging for a call. I think that's stupid. Um, Even with Kevin Garnett's comments basically saying that he don't believe today's players could play in that era. Yeah, one, the court is shrunk. So the floor is not spaced out. So if you believe that you're going to be able to dance and do all of this and nobody could touch you because the floor is spread, no, it's not. Because you got what 6'6" on up to 7 feet just clogging the lane. You have to be really skilled to get to the basket. That's how it was. You had to be really skilled to get to a basket. And a lot of these guys, listen, man, don't disrespect the players of the past. Don't disrespect the players of the past because they made it to the league. They made it to the league. No, they might not be able to dribble like you. They might not even know how to shoot like you, but they probably know how to play the game better than you. And that's why you see uh a lot of guys who come into the league, and this is their first time actually being coached. So that's what it is. And no, Kevin Garnett was right. Magic, he supports everybody, but one thing he ain't gonna do is disrespect the players of the past and things like that. And when I say players today, I'm not talking about LeBron James. LeBron James can play in any era he wants to because that's how great he is, right? And do I believe the players of the past could come in and play in today's game? Absolutely, the great players, even the players that weren't like all stars, but because the way the game is played and how they play their game, can they survive? Oh yeah, I said Dana Barros. I said Dennis Scott, 3D. If y'all go back and watch those Orlando Magic teams, y'all know what I'm talking about. Uh, who else could play today? I'm trying to think of some. Well, obviously Hakeem Olajuwon would just dominate. Tim Duncan would just dominate because they got big men. They can't. If your big guy is like 6'9", these guys gonna carve him up. And here's the thing: before I go on to the next subject, this one thing I just can't understand. When I'm watching the NBA game, I'm watching the NBA game and players they switch more so than anything else, right? They switch and yet they don't punish the guy down low. I'll give you an example. If somebody was to, let's say a big man was going to set a pick up top and Trae Young switched on that big man, ain't no way, ain't no way I'm not going to give that guy the ball down low. He got Trae Young on him. But you know what they do? The big man just spread out, let the guard take the big man and whatever. It's kind of like that's stupid basketball. Get the ball down low to the post. It'll be a lot easier for you to feed the post because you know what's going to happen. Somebody's going to have to double help Trae Young out. Guess what that's going to do? That's going to open up a shot for somebody else. They don't do that. They take all these dribbles, man, to get to a shot and all of that stuff. Like me, I like James Harden. But y'all remember James Harden in Houston? It was, yeah, he was averaging like 35, 36 a game. But you thinking about how many dribbles he was taking? I'm thinking like, dude, pass the doggone ball. You see what I'm saying? All that dribbling and all that stuff, you're not making the defense work for anything. I I I don't know. I have no idea, but skill today, probably more athletic. But the IQ level, I believe has dropped. Because ain't I'll even put it to you this way. Who was another big man I could talk about? Who was another big man in the league right now that should die? Carl Anthony Towns. I'm gonna tell y'all this: Carl Anthony Towns. I mean, he's a great talent, right? There's nights where you be like, man, he's like an MVP candidate. Then other nights is like, dude, what are you doing? Ain't no way I'm one of the best skilled big men in the league, right? Probably the most skilled big man in the league. I know people talk about Jokic and everything. Um, Jokic is the best player in the league right now. We're talking about skill. Cat could step out, shoot the three, but his mindset is stay outside and shoot the three. No, dude, you got an advantage every night down low. Punish them down low. If they don't give you the ball, when you get to that locker room, you punch them in their mouth and let them know to give me the damn ball. That's the that's what I'm talking about right there. That alone, the mentality and the IQ has went down. That's all I'm saying. But Anthony Edwards, Ant Man, listen, best American born player in the league. we hate to say that because we didn't never had to say that before, but obviously the best players in the league are international players. Um, Listen, the international players is taking over, and SGA is from Canada, so he's technically international. Um, well, not technically, he is international. Uh, Jokic, Giannis, who else is up there? Um, Wembyamba. Come on, man! Like international players is taking over, right? So I don't. It's just wrong to say. Just wrong to say. Yeah, stop disrespecting the past. All I gotta say about that. Y'all let me know in the comments, man, how y'all feel about that and how y'all really feel about those comments and everything. And I listen to other platforms, you know. I hear Gil's Arena. And the fact that when you have to agree with Rashad McCants, he's supposed to be the person that says that outrageous things to bring the show together. But when he started making sense, that's when it's kind of like, okay. And Gil wants to talk strictly offensive because if y'all know anything about Gilbert Arenas, that's all. I always say this about scores. If you're just a scorer and that's the only thing you're doing on the court, at some point, if you can't score, you have no need. That's the way I feel. That's why you got defensive players that could go and play so many minutes because they bring a specific skill set to the team. You know, if you're not scoring, you've been cold for like 6, 7 games. How good are like what good are you? You see what I'm saying? You got guys who are not two-way players, unfortunately, and that goes for defensive players too. All right, so let's move on to another sport. Obviously, again, like I said, football is back. Um, I'm gonna stick with football. I'm just gonna talk about the game that I've watched, and that's why I kind of waited to do this podcast because I kind of want to talk about this particular game. Colorado versus North Dakota State. Um, First game of the season for both teams. If y'all know about Colorado, obviously, Deion Sanders, head coach, Shador Sanders, and Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter to me is the best player in the entire country. He proved that last night. Shador Sanders probably the best quarterback in the country. Proved that again last night with his performance. If y'all don't know anything about college football, obviously a lot of people only know about the FBS, but the FCS. Um, North Dakota State has been pretty much the premier team of the FCS. I mean, I can't even count how many national championships they have in the FCS. They're kind of like Nick Saban's Alabama team. Uh, or right now, Georgia, or yeah, like Georgia Bulldogs or whoever the team is right now. But they have dominated the FCS, and they're a very very good team, and they have beaten some FBS teams along the way. Um, and who somebody come from North was it Carson Wentz? I think Carson Wentz came from North Dakota State. They have produced some players for the NFL. Let's put it that way. Um, but Colorado played North Dakota State. Great game. It was a great game. Wasn't a blowout game. Uh, North Dakota came to Boulder, Colorado, and listen, they held their own. They almost pulled off the upset. Uh, yeah, almost pulled it off. Score was 31-26, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah, 31-26. Uh, Listen, Travis Hunter, man, listen, 3 touchdowns. Uh, Two-way player. He plays a wide receiver and defensive back. a lot of critics are concerned that he's playing pretty much the whole game, both sides of the football. Fatigue. We saw what happened last year with the injury he had. So a lot of people just a little concerned about that, but he showed up on the national stage and really had a great game. Shador Stevens, I mean, listen, man, Shador Sanders, excuse me, had listen, man, he's to me the best quarterback in college football, hands down, no doubt about it. They got the best duo in college football. Do they have the best team? Absolutely not. Okay. Um, this game last night, North Dakota. I'm gonna tell you something about this particular game. I sat there and watched it. Even though they gave up one sack, but Shador Sanders was still getting hit a lot. Still getting hit a lot. Uh, so if we're looking at let's do it this way. So Sanders, 26 to 34, 445, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception. The rushing was terrible. Okay, we gotta call it what it is. The rushing was terrible last night. Uh, let me see if you break this down. How many yards total they rushed for? Oh, I gotta find it. Duh, 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 duh. It wasn't for a lot of yards. Let's put it that way. Okay. Jimmy Horn Jr. and Travis Hunter both had 7 receptions. Jimmy Horn Jr. had 198 yards through the air, catching the football, 1 touchdown. Travis Hunter, 7 receptions, 132 for 3 TDs. Okay. Defensively, still have problems on the defensive side of the ball. Uh, but I mean, if you really look at this game, even though Colorado won this game, it didn't really feel that they got some stuff to work out. Stuff to work out. Colorado only had 59 yards rushing, 445 yards passing. Um, total yards, Colorado, just over 50 yards. So a total offense more so than North Dakota State. But this team, I mean, the big hype around this team last year, obviously the celebrities coming in, flying in first class to be around this program. Uh, Deion Sanders bringing all this media to Colorado. Now it's kind of like died down because now they want to see you produce. They did not have a winning season last year. Starting off again, I mean, listen, won the first game of the season, but they got a big test next week with Nebraska. And offensively, I don't think that's where the issue is. The only issue offensively is their running game. But defensively, that's where the problem is going to is. That's what the problem is. It was their problem last year, and so far it's their problem again this year. And they got to clean that up. If you want to be competitive, if you want to go out there and uh, become bowl eligible, win your conference, then that's something that you have to do. I mean, North Dakota State ran for 157 yards against this team. 157 yards against this team, and that's something. I think last year we gave Deion a pass because it was his first year. He's trying to build up a program. This year, no, I think they got a new different defensive coordinator and all of that, but they got a lot of work, man. And I think a lot of people are talking about this team. They're looking at like, man, y'all playing Nebraska next week, and this is the showing that you have. A win is a win. I get it, but when you play and North Dakota, listen, North Dakota State is no slouch. They're probably going to win a national championship in the FCS again. That's how talented this team is. And I'm gonna tell you right now, this particular team, a lot of its players could play FBS football. They could just play FBS football, and you know that's how good this team is. All right, but it is FCS. It is North Dakota State, and you're Colorado. This is a team that you want to make a statement against. This is the team that you want to do it. We know what you can do offensively. We've seen you put up points. Defensively, that's your problem. And you also have a problem rushing the football. So uh that's all I gotta say about that. And I mean, listen, North Dakota State played a great game. They played a great game. It's just that at two positions, quarterback and receiver, well, yeah, receivers, they pretty much won this game for them, and it's gonna be hard, man. It's really gonna be hard for Colorado moving forward if you don't get this stuff together. So we'll see how it's going to be next week when they play Nebraska. Another thing I want to talk about before I get out of here, just real quick. So sticking with football with this whole Sports Friday theme. Um, Let me see. I'm gonna read this off to you. Josh Allen, who is the Buffalo Bills quarterback, has been voted the most overrated quarterback by fellow players. Again, I don't know if it's I don't know what's going on. To me, Josh Allen is not overrated. He's To me, he's one of the premier quarterbacks in the league. Obviously, doesn't really have a defense to support him. Um, very close to beating the only. Here's the thing: his nemesis is Patrick Mahomes. He's a guy he just can't beat in the playoffs. Beat him in the regular season, just can't beat him in the playoffs, right? Who can outside of Tom Brady? Who could beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs? Uh, but this is just a stupid list to put him overrated. I mean, we're gonna talk about quarterbacks that's overrated. I could go Hubert, Justin Hubbard, however you say his last name. I believe he's overrated. Um, who else was on this list? Let's see. Uh, About to put these glasses back on. Uh, Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. With 11 votes, so how did they even how did they vote? Okay, so 11 votes. Allen was the top vote getter for most overrated. Jalen Hurts and Tua Tagovailoa uh, both received 10 votes, tied for second. Somebody said too many turnovers. Um, Listen, man, I'm just going to be honest with you. If Josh Allen was available for a team that needs a quarterback, and these are some of the players that are voting saying that, hey, um, we need a quarterback. Josh Allen's available. Go get him. How would you feel then? Are you going to keep that same energy up because he's on your team, or are you going to be like, yeah, whatever? Josh Allen. Most teams in the league would take Josh Allen. Honestly, y'all know I'm a Steelers fan. If he was available, say next year, we're just gonna do hypotheticals. If he was available next year and Pittsburgh had a chance to go get him, I would say go get Josh Allen. Okay, that's what I would say. All right, we don't know how Chicago. We don't know if they have a quarterback yet. Just because he was drafted number one overall, we don't know how he's going to be. we know for sure Kansas City got a quarterback. We know Baltimore has a quarterback. I would say this: Miami knows they have a quarterback. Uh, Green Bay knows they have a quarterback. Houston knows they have a quarterback. Uh, who else? That's all I can think of right now that you can say, okay, they have a quarterback. Even San Francisco 49ers, look, Purdy, I mean, he's a good quarterback for what that team needs because they have the weapons over there. So they don't need somebody that's like super net. They got the talent around him. Okay. Um, Cleveland, we have to wait and see how that situation is. But I would say this: most teams, if they could get Josh Allen in the heartbeat, they would get Josh Allen in the heartbeat. So this list is stupid. Obviously, the votes are anonymous, so you don't know who voting for who, whatever. But there's some quarterbacks out there. If you're gonna say overrated or some players that's overrated, Josh Allen to me is not one of them. He is not one of them. I'm not gonna get into that mess. Some people got a vendetta against this guy, and I think it's just terrible. I think it's stupid. If you're gonna say anybody, you should have put Dak Prescott on there. And listen to all my Cowboy fans. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but let's just be honest about something. At least Josh Allen has taken his team, to an AFC title game. He plays, better than Dak Prescott in the playoffs. All right. To me, he plays better than Dak Prescott in the playoffs. And last year shown it. It was seen last year. Y'all see what Green Bay did. Okay. So don't sit there and be like, well, it's all on the quarterback. We all know football is a team sport. You got three aspects. You got offense, defense, and special teams. All right. And y'all got to stop. I get it. It's a quarterback. These sports shows focusing on the quarterback. I think that's why they get paid a lot of money. I think it's stupid. I think their pay scale should be for the best players on the team, regardless of their position and stuff like that. So they need to change all of that. They need to become more like baseball and basketball in terms of their pay. Because there's a lot of quarterbacks, frankly, don't deserve the money that they're getting. They just get it because they're a quarterback. Simple as that. But Josh Allen to me is not the most overrated player. And for people to say Tua and Jalen Hurts, yeah, Hurts took a little step back last year, but guess what? He got a new weapon back there, so we'll see how that goes. Tua had a great season last year, in my opinion. So I don't want to hear anybody saying anything about that. Again, Justin Hubbard, Dak Prescott, who else? To me, those are two overrated quarterbacks. Well, two overrated players, in my opinion. So that's just how I feel. All right. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in with me tonight. Uh please drink responsibly. Don't forget to follow Drinking After Dark Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok. And please hit that thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Also, too, man, y'all could listen to the podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever you decide to listen to podcasts, man, please check it out. Support, tell your friends and family about it. All right. Any suggestions where I should try to drink on my platform, man, please let me know. I'll give it a shot, man, and everything like that. So I'll do it for you guys. Until next time, this is Darius from Drinking After Dark Podcast, and we out. Peace.
Gotta get to the money. Gotta get to the money. Early morning, so you know that I'm on it. So you know that I'm on it. Gotta make sure that my family straight. Gotta make sure that my keys and